How's it going, Yankee fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Ryan Garcia. We are one day away from the ALDS with Garrett Cole on the mound. Of course, everyone's excited. We are extremely excited to watch this game. We'll have you all the necessary news following the ALDS and obviously after the games and all the big takeaways. But today we want to discuss a couple of things ranging from Clay Holmes, injury update there, what we expect from him, and then Brian Cashman opening up about Aaron Judge's extension, really what that's going to look like, the money. We have our projections, and obviously Cashman understands that after a historical season that Judge has had, breaking the single season home run record and really having one of the best altogether years in baseball history, that price tag just went up significantly. There's a couple teams that are waiting in the wings, kind of waiting in the weeds, rather, just like ready to pounce, ready to see if he's going to be on the market for a long time or if they can, manage to scoop him up. Notably, maybe the I don't even know, maybe the San Francisco Giants or the Mets or the Dodgers. There's a lot of teams that have money to spend that could look to acquire him, but Cashman definitely wants to retain Judge, and we'll give you some insight into his quotes and, our thoughts on what the money might look like and Clay Holmes. But Ryan, before I dive into, let's start with Clay Holmes here, because I think that's a pressing matter. How you do today, my friend?
I'm doing great. The Yankees, it's almost like, it's right around the corner. Playoff baseball for the New York Yankees, American League Division Series, first playoff game in the Bronx since 2019. I mean, it's been a while since we've had, good playoff baseball with, all crowds in and fans in the stands. This is good stuff. And Clay Holmes is going to be an important piece of this Yankee team. I know a lot of people are looking past Cleveland and looking straight to an ALCS match with the Astros, who are facing a tough Mariners team. You don't know if you're going to even get there because you're playing the Guardians, and you don't know if the Astros even get there because they're playing the Mariners. So we gotta make sure that we're looking at this series. We are not overlooking our opponent. I think, the Yankees are obviously going to be focused. They're not going to overlook anyone. I don't think they're, naive, enough to do something like that. But Clay Holmes is an important part of this team, right? Whether fans think he's going to regress or he's continuing to regress or not, you can't deny that he's a good right-handed reliever. The Yankees don't have a lot of guys who are healthy, who are closing options or have been reliable all year that they came into the year trying to close with, right? Even Loaiza, when he started off the year really rough. Then he corrected himself, whether it's the adjustment that he's going to make with, using more fastballs, or whether it's just a matter of the time off does him well. He said he didn't feel anything in his shoulder when he threw some live bullpens. That's great to hear. I'm very excited to see what Clay Holmes can do. I wouldn't necessarily throw him out in the ninth inning to close in game one. If it push comes to shove, I'll go with Efros or Loaiza or Peralta. But Holmes is important. He's important to this team. I would go to him before I go to quite a few guys in that bullpen, not to put down the other guys in the bullpen, more so to put up Holmes. I'm a big Holmes guy. I think he is a good pitcher. I think he's a great reliever. I think, the value that he brings to this bullpen is understated sometimes because of his recent play. But for sure, the Yankees if they have a healthy Clay Holmes, this pitching staff in a short series is remarkable. And we've seen it's not just about having good starting pitching. It's not just about, hey, throw out two guys who are really good all year and they're going to, win you those two games. You can't play like that. You need to have a great bullpen, right? Look at the Padres, right? You would say Yu Darvish is worse than Max Scherzer, and Joe Musgrove is, or Joe Musgrove and Chris Bassett aren't too far apart, and the Padres, they go out, they face DeGrom and Scherzer, and they somehow win that series, right? You need that bullpen. You need the lineup clicking. Everything's got to click. So it's not a matter of I have Garrett Cole in game one, I'm going to win today. It's a matter of I have Garrett Cole on the mound. I need my bullpen to be there too. I need my offense to get hits. I need Garrett Cole to throw up zeros. It's a team effort in October. You can't just say pencil in wins, right? It's not, regular season baseball where you're not trying as hard or you're not, being as aggressive with the bullpen. If Garrett Cole gives up, a 3-run home run in the sixth inning, they're going straight to the bullpen. In the regular season of the game, they may let him, finish the sixth. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic, Cole. I'm just giving a hypothetical. They're going straight to the bullpen, right? Or they might not even let Garrett Cole get to the point where he can give up a home run there. If he gives up 2 runners in the sixth and he's at like 80 or 90 pitches, he looks like he's stressing. They're going to go to Clay Holmes. They're going to go to Scott Efros. They're going to go to Jonathan Loaiza, Wandy Peralta. You need as many of these high leverage guys as you can get so that you can bail yourself out of these situations and not put your stars in situations where they're set up to fail. You want to put everyone in a situation to succeed, and Clay Holmes is a great option to bridge those gaps.
Yes, he is. And as you said before, do we trust him right now as the primary closer? Probably not. I'm probably going to lean on Wandy Peralta right now just because he's coming off a much better ending to the regular season. But Clay Holmes, nonetheless, has made some really good progress. Specifically, he said, I think yesterday morning, I definitely anticipate to be on the roster for the ALDS. It's just whether I'm available to pitch in game one or game two. I think that just depends on how we progress over the next couple of days. Now he has pitched, I believe this weekend on Saturday, he pitched a bullpen session. So that was a pretty good step in the right direction. Everything went well. He's tracking well to be ready. The arm looks good. Everything is seemingly on pace to be an effective couple days for Clay Holmes. But, I'm not going to put him in on the ninth inning right now. I'm thinking more of an eighth inning situation, seventh, eighth inning situation right now for Clay Holmes. Now, his spin rate, RPMs for his sinker have been a little bit all over the place this season. His best month came in May, which was obviously, a dominant portion of the year for him. He didn't give up a single run over 14 innings. He used his sinker 84% of the time and slider 16% of the time. Sinker generated 114 average, over 35 at bat. So honestly, right now I'm thinking about how exactly they can get the best out of Clay Holmes, because he saw a massive uptick in slider usage towards the end of the season there. In September, his sinker dropped to 68%, and he was using that slider at 32%. So I wonder exactly why they changed up the sequence. Maybe they were just kind of trying to mix and match because teams are starting to catch on a little bit. Obviously, the sinker's his best pitch when it's moving and grooving and he's dotting those I's. But how do you think the sequence goes in the postseason? Right now, I'm thinking you go back to how May looked. You use the exact same metrics that May showed. Hopefully the RPMs are similar. And I think it was 2209, 2,209 RPMs, but or the spin rate. So, if you're looking at right now, how do you think the Yankees kind of utilize that pitch sequence for Clay Holmes? Do you think they kind of lean more on the slider, or, 85, 84% on the sinker as they did during his best month this season?
Yeah, I think it's going to be heavy usage of that sinker, right? I think they're okay with walking a lefty if it means Clay Holmes is going to be so sinker heavy, right? Clay Holmes, it's October, right? You're playing to prevent runs. You're not playing to prevent. Yes, you're playing to prevent base runners, but ultimately you don't care how you do it. You just got to prevent runs, right? And there are peripheral stats out there that try to estimate ERA and what it should be, right? And, walks hurt those, right? When you walk someone, it assumes you're supposed to give up more runs, but you're trying to go based on what's going to give you the highest success. And a lefty facing Clay Holmes sinker may have a better chance of hitting a home run, so you may want to just walk him and go to a righty, try to get up a double play, or just get the righty out however you can. So I think it's going to be that heavy usage, right? It's a great pitch. It's a pitch he commands very well. I think he went away from it when he stopped commanding it well. Right around, you think of that Reds implosion, where it was like, what the hell's going on here? Why is his sinker command where is it? Where is it gone? And I feel like he overcorrected that mistake of not having his sinker command. And then once he got his sinker command back, he didn't rely on it enough. So hopefully we get to see more of that ground ball action, some of those, strikes, and him going on and dominating righties at least, and hopefully he fares a little bit better against lefties. So I do think that sinker heavy approach is what he's going to be going with in October.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, Clay Holmes at the top of his game would be an essential piece of the puzzle during the postseason. We hope that he can resurrect his year and show us what he did in the first half. But let's talk about Aaron Judge. Of course, one of the more amazing players that we've seen in our lifetime, and I'm sure a lot of you guys as well. Brian Cashman essentially is like, yeah, he is sitting on a pot of gold. Specifically, he said there's a pot of gold there. It is yet to be determined what the gold, how much it weighs, but it's a pot of gold, no doubt about it. So good for him. It was really already a big pot, and obviously it'll be bigger. So, I mean, come on. I don't know how the Yankees let the guy go, to be honest with you. I mean, there's people are giving him like a 40% chance of returning to the Yankees, but end of the day, they have a freaking section in the stadium carved out for Aaron Judge. A section in the stadium. I don't know how you ignore that. He's the face of the franchise. There are a lot of ways the Yankees can fit his money into the situation. And I'll give you an example right now. The Yankees next year, I believe, let me see, I just wrote it down. They had $265 million in payroll this season, but that number will plummet to $151 million before arbitration for next year. So they have some money to spend. And think about this. If you can find ways to offload the contracts of Aaron Hicks now that you have Oswaldo Cabrera, you're kind of in good shape in the outfield. You don't necessarily need Hicks. You could probably go get a cheaper option that will provide just as much value as him, if not more. If you can figure out a way to offload Aaron Hicks' contract, if you can figure out a way to offload Josh Donaldson's contract, you can easily pay Aaron Judge. Like, they were about to offer him a 7-year, $31.5 million deal. You could increase from 7 years to $36 million per year. And all you would have to do is just unload those two contracts. He's already being paid $17 million this year. So you just increase that, essentially double that amount of money, and you're just about there. I think the Yankees can figure that out. They can roll that money from Donaldson over onto Judge, and especially because of all the youth they have on the team. Gleyber Torres is not a free agent until 2026. You have Cabrera, obviously has no service time. Anthony Volpe, he barely has any service time. Ron Marinaccio. I mean, you have some really, really talented players, Michael King, that are, even Herman. There's some good players here that aren't making a lot of money. And Clay Holmes, another one that we just mentioned. Like, this is definitely a team that is composed of a lot of young, very cheap players. And they're talented as well, right? Why can't this team afford to pay Aaron Judge, right? Like, what's the reason they can't? There is none. They have so much good young talent. Jason Dominguez is making his way up pretty quickly. Austin Wells, big lefty catcher who's been crushing it. They have so much young talent who's ready to take the step forward and make the leap that can make an impact and barely get paid anything. So why are we sitting here figuring out if the Yankees can sign Aaron Judge? They absolutely can. Get rid of Aaron Hicks. Even if you have to I didn't even mention Oswald Peraza. Like, that's another guy. He's been killing it lately. He's making next to nothing. You trade a couple of guys that help you offload Donaldson and help you offload Aaron Hicks, and Judge is easily being kept. I don't get why everyone's freaking out about him not being able to, the Yankees not being able to afford him, or like analysts saying they think, he's a 40% chance he stays, 60% chance he leaves. In my opinion, there are a lot of ways the Yankees can open up money. The biggest question, in my opinion, and it's not health related because Aaron Judge has proven over 2 years he can maintain his health. The biggest question is, how valuable can he be when he turns 37 years old, 38 years old, depending on how long this contract is? Are you going to have to eat $36 million when he's 37 because his body's breaking down? He's a big guy. How long can you expect him to actually play at that level? I don't think it matters, right? If you get the next 5 years of Aaron Judge at a high level, even if he's DHing down the road, and you get elite level play from him for the next 5 years, it is worth every freaking penny. It's worth every penny, and it's not even a discussion. This is not a Jacoby Ellsbury deal where like he signs a big contract and he's injured the whole way. This is like you're getting probably 4 to 5 years of elite level play from Aaron Judge until he's, even look at Matt Carpenter. He's having an unbelievable year with the Yankees at 36 years old? Like, you can still be effective down the stretch. So, what are your thoughts about this? I know a lot of people are kind of on the fence of thinking that he may leave, but I think the Yankees have plenty of money. I don't really see a reason why they can't extend him.
Yeah, so the way I look at it is I wanted to compare Mike Trout's contract to what Aaron Judge could get. Mike Trout signed when he was younger, so I'm not looking at it in terms of the total money, right? He signed it when he was 27, but he's turning 31 next year. So it'll be from his age 31 season until 2030. So he's going to make $37 million a year, 37.5 roughly, for the next 8 years, right? That's a lot of money, right? But is Aaron Judge going to get much more than what Mike Trout is going to get from his age 31 beyond seasons, right? It's a question of how much, Mike Trout or I guess Ohtani maybe has kind of surpassed him at this point. And you would say that Judge is, with that Mike Trout, you could argue that Judge is going to be as likely to put up the same amount of WAR value throughout an entire season. But Mike Trout and Aaron Judge are at least going to be in similar contract situations, right? Do you give Aaron Judge, can you really realistically, is there going to be a team that offers him much more than that $37 million a year over 8 years or 9 years, perhaps? I don't know, right? $37 million over 8 years gets you to the number of 296. I think it would go over that. I think it'd be 300. So let's say 39 million, right? Let's say 38 million, let's say over 9 years, something like that, right? You're going to get over that 300 million mark. You're still going to get a lot of money. The big thing with Aaron Judge is obviously the age. That's the only thing that we're really ever going to get hung up on. If he was 28, this is a much easier decision, right? It's that he's 31. I don't think teams are as necessarily ready. I don't think teams are necessarily dying to pay a 31-year-old $40 million for 8 years. I think that's a lot of, people over exaggerating how desperate teams will be. Teams aren't going to outbid themselves. They'll bid against each other. I don't think these teams are going to drive up that price point beyond what Trout's getting right now. And as for, the competition, right? The Yankees have Rizzo coming off the book, 16 million, Judges 19 million. So you have to subtract that 19 million before you add whatever you may pay him, right? So realistically, the way I see it is if Aaron Judge is making 19 million this year and you give him $38 million, you're increasing his salary by $19 million. Your payroll only gets a $19 million increase to what it is right now. Chapman and Britton are coming off the books. That's $30 million roughly, right? The Yankees have like $70 million in total coming off the books, not including the Benintendies and Tyons and Green and all those guys who were last year ARB guys who made not a lot of money, but enough where it makes a decent $5 million is enough that it's the difference between Judge signing with you or not in terms of AAV. So Yankees have money coming off the books, right? There's no reason, even if they don't trade Donaldson, right? You should still be able to sign Aaron Judge. Even if they don't trade Hicks, you should still be able to sign Aaron Judge, right? You have money. You're the New York Yankees. You can spend it, right? Aaron Judge is a generational talent. He is one of the best homegrown players this team has seen. I've never seen a season as great as this one. I know he's not going to put this up next year. That's a ridiculous ask of any player, no matter how great they are. But can he be a 7-win player for this year, next year, and the year after? Perhaps, yeah. And a 7-year player would be worth it, right? Even a 5.5-win player, you would say, yeah, that's worth the money Aaron Judge is going to get. So the way I look at it with Aaron Judge is he's a great player. He's not going to get much more than what Trout's getting right now. The way I see it is, with Harper, everyone's like, he's going to get $400 million. He's making $25 million a year AAV. He just got it over a longer period of time. So Harper didn't go out and get $400 million. We thought Soto was potentially going to be a $500 million guy. We're not certain if Soto's going to get an offer of $500 million. So, I think a lot of people overplay just how expensive these players are going to be because we don't really know how these contracts are going to play out, right? This is unknown to us. This is new to us. And guys oftentimes get less than what we imagine. How many times do you sit back and say, you only paid this much for this guy? Look at Carlos Correa sign. You only got him. It's only a 3-year deal with an option. So basically a 1-year deal. What the hell? Or even Corey Seager, like he was supposed to be a guy who made, he was supposed to break the bank, get past what Lindor got. He got $20 million less than what Lindor got. And he was an all-star he was coming off an all-star season. He was a World Series MVP, this and that. It's not, the number is not the crazy number you think it is, right? It's never that crazy number. It's always a little bit less. Not saying Judge is going to get underpaid, right? But Judge is not probably going to go out and get that insane contract that no one could ever imagine, right? It's not going to be that. I hope the pot of gold is there. I think it's going to be there. I'm agreeing with you in the sense I'm confident the Yankees get it done. And the Yankees have the financial flexibility to do it. A lot of young talent coming up. They can trade a lot of these guys hitting ARB and deal them over the next year and a half and replace them with these younger guys. Like I love Glaber, but you could realistically trade Glaber and replace him with a Volpe, and you're probably getting better as a team. As Volpe develops, and you're gonna get, and it's cheaper. But one thing I want the Yankees to work on is, extending guys early, right? Like the Braves, they just extended Steven Strider. They extend everyone early. Acuna, Riley, Albies, all these guys, with the Cabreras and Perazzas and Volpes coming up, extend these dudes early, right? Get themselves cost controlled, because it's going to become a problem when Aaron Judge is making $37 million and then Volpe maybe becomes a superstar and you got to pay him, and Perazzas pretty good and you got to pay him, and Cabrera's pretty good and you got to pay him, and Wells and Jason Dominguez and any pitchers you want to spend. Severino's going to be a free agent after next year. You might want to bring him back. If Montas is a great year, you might want to bring him back. There's a lot of questions about who you're bringing back and who you're not bringing back. You want to keep yourself financially flexible. Aaron Judge is going to be a big part of this roster crunch in terms of money, but if they can make sure they get cost controlled talent around Aaron Judge, which they seem to know how to do because they have so many, young guys coming up, that'll play a factor in, the long-term success of this team, where we can sit back and say he's making $37 million. He's DHing, maybe he's like a Nelson type player, but you know what? We can eat it because a lot of the guys on the team aren't making a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I'm still optimistic. I feel like the Yankees have at least the money to make it happen. Have they lost all leverage in the situation? Absolutely. I mean, Brian Cashman, $31.5 million over 7 years. I mean, he definitely put himself in a tough spot. Like, that money's going to increase pretty substantially. I just hope to God that the Yankees don't find themselves in a bidding war with the Giants or Mets, because I know the Giants have money, but I feel like if they were going to sign Judge, that's as far as they're going to go. They're not going to spend much more. And Judge, maybe he'll take the money, but he's not going to be on a really competitive team. I think they're just going to try and cut corners otherwise. The real one I'm looking at is the Mets. I really think Steve Cohen's going to make a run at him. He has unlimited money. He doesn't give a shit about the luxury tax. They're losing Jacob deGrom. They're losing a lot of their starting rotation, but I think that they're opening up a ton of money with deGrom leaving and all these starters going. So maybe they just commit to some younger guys in the pitching staff, find some good stopgap veterans, and they just invest heavily in Judge. And you find yourself with Pete Alonso, Judge, and a really talented roster to head into 2023 with. But that would be an interesting situation, a bidding war between the Yankees and Mets. I don't want to get into one, but let's see if the Yankees can get something done in the short term. Maybe they can get it done before free agency hits, which would be ideal. But I think that, I imagine Scott Boras is his rep. I'm not entirely sure about that. But whoever his agent is definitely wants to take this to free agency because he's going to be able to drive up the price pretty significantly than just settling for whatever the Yankees offer him. So we'll see what happens, my friends. Always happy to hear perspectives and opinions below in the YouTube comments regarding Clay Holmes, his impact, and Aaron Judge, and how much you think he's going to earn. So appreciate that. As always, make sure to have a fantastic rest of your day. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.